Welcome to BizWire. I'm Joseph Nordstrom in Beijing. The Beijing International Film Festival kicks off today, and censorship and Hollywood complicity are likely to be major topics of discussion. Last week, Quentin Tarantino's Oscar-winning film Django Unchained was pulled from screens just minutes before opening in what commentators, including many in China, are calling arbitrary and sloppy censorship. The decision to pull the movie at the last minute was surprising, considering the careful review process that international films undergo before they are cleared for release by censors. In March, many government agencies were reshuffled, some with major reorganizations, including the agency responsible for censorship, so it's possible that the new bureaucracy is testing its new power. Yesterday, in Economic Insight, we discussed China's attempts at increasing its soft power, or the power of its ideas and culture, in influencing global opinion. This is positively seen in the hundreds of thousands of students that come to China and the Chinese that go abroad. But censorship, like with Django Unchained or the cutting of scenes in the latest James Bond film and 38 Minutes from Cloud Atlas, do much more to reinforce negative images of Chinese society, which is modernizing and joining the global community despite attempts by the party who tries to control the information that flows to over 1.3 billion people. Yin Li, vice chairman of the China Film Association, said Chinese filmmaking faces too many restrictions regarding sensitive topics such as public security, diplomacy, ethnic minorities, and religion. Yin expressed hope that China could offer more freedom to filmmakers so a more favorable climate could be created for the country's movie industry. Speaking to the usually nationalistic newspaper, the Global Times, Shi Chuan, vice president of the Shanghai Film Association, said this censorship has the obvious characteristic of the rule of man rather than the rule of law, as different censors have various standards. Shi also complained that China's censorship is too strict and overly rigid. Shi said he does believe that the censorship system is necessary for China's film industry, but that movie regulation should respect the producer's original ideas rather than chopping scenes arbitrarily. Added into the mix of all this is the age-old debate of art versus commerce. Here, Chinese money is just too irresistible for Hollywood to resist, who has been working with Chinese authorities in order to gain access to what has become a very lucrative market, which in less than 20 years may bring in more revenue to Hollywood than screenings in America. Last year, Chinese audiences spent over $2 billion at the box office, a number increasing much faster than GDP or income growth. The number of movie theaters in China is still low, but like many things here, is growing fast. Currently, there is only one screen for every 100,000 people, whereas in America, it's one screen for every 8,000, so there's tremendous room for growth that's not lost on Hollywood moguls. China still has an official limit of 20 foreign movies per year, though last year 14 exceptions were made to bring the total to 34. Hollywood is looking for ways around this limitation by partnering with Chinese investors, like with its latest addition to the Transformers series, which won't count as one of the 20 foreign films. Theater owners with substantial investments in new multiplexes, many in glitzy shopping malls, perhaps have the most to gain by more American films being allowed into the country, and they're putting pressure on officials from inside China as Hollywood hopes the WTO rules in their favor from the outside. Besides theater owners and the WTO, the Chinese public is applying pressure of its own. In online forums like Weibo, China's Twitter-like equivalent, people rail against the quality of homegrown films, which directors say would be much better if they weren't forced to so much review by state censors. China's Communist Party, while authoritarian, is not immune to public opinion, and some see the clumsy handling of Django Unchained as the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, and the new regulator has been panned by the public. It's also a mystery as to why state censors work so hard to keep foreign films out of theaters, as bootleg DVDs selling for $1 can be found everywhere across China. Control of information is seen by many inside the party as essential to its survival, but there are reformers who see material benefits to letting the market decide what is created and consumed. It's clear, though, that the public is frustrated by its leaders' handling of this. In China, freedom of expression may not be the cherished value it is in the West, but Chinese do feel they work too hard to be denied the right to relax at the cinema. This is BizWire on the Blue Ocean Network. Stay tuned for more in Economic Insight.